Do you think a CPA has the ability to transform your life and your family? I mean, let's be real. Most people believe that CPAs just count numbers and file tax returns. So before you answer that, let me share an incredible transformation story about a client of mine, a small business owner who faced extremely challenging circumstances. The stress of running his business was taking a serious toll on his health. Although he hoped to retire at 65, his current circumstances were not making his retirement plans look very good. So I'm going to tell you next how I turned his life around. You won't want to miss this. So let me give you a quick backstory to start things off. My client, we're going to call him John. He basically poured his heart and soul into this RV camping business for like over 4 decades. At one time was bringing him a lot of happiness, joy, and energy. Now it was, after all this time, it became a constant source of stress and exhaustion. He literally lived at his place of business, and this certainly did not help his stress levels any. He was completely overwhelmed, and to make matters worse, his health was declining. He was getting older. Even the simple thought of selling his business filled him with total fear. He was constantly worried about losing tenants. Bottom line is John was not in a good place. His health was declining, the loss of motivation, his limited energy, and no retirement savings. His business was it. That was it. That's all he had, his future. He was writing on it and there was no plan B. So sadly, his business was barely making ends meet. He truly was between a rock and a hard place. When I first met John, he became a bookkeeping client. At the time, he really did not see the value in us helping him grow his business, no tax savings advisory or tax planning. I did tell him, if you decide to sell ever your business, just let me know so that my team and I can review your situation and make the most of your sale. When John finally came to me asking me for help, I really could not believe all that he was telling me. And I honestly could not understand why he didn't ask for help before. His situation seemed pretty bad. Thankfully, we had done this before. We had seen clients and other businesses go down this route. So I felt pretty confident that we could help his situation and we could probably turn things around. Once John hired our advisory services, we really wanted to waste no time. We first started going through a thorough on-site investigation visit. I needed to understand his business inside and out, what he had, how much land, buildings, equipment, all the stuff that was sitting in his operations. Now, we went to look at things and we looked at his balance sheet, which turned out to be a total mess. As it turns out, some of his assets had not been reported. They were incorrectly reported. The pricing was not correct, and some things were just totally non-existent. And there were so many other assets that he had never even told us about that would make such an impact on the sale of his business. In fact, we found 3 additional small buildings on his property that drastically increased the sales price. But again, I would never have known this unless I visited the property first. So my next task would be to correct all the discrepancies on his books in an effort to reveal the true value of his business. We began to steer John's life and business back in the right direction. I could not help but to think to myself, wouldn't it be great if we could just get John a nice retirement and take away what's really hurting his health at this time. So a sale of this magnitude would change his life. He would actually be able to enjoy his later years in retirement. But I knew this was not going to be an easy road to get there. And this is where the real work began. So with our next step, I knew we had to know exactly how John was generating income for his business. And then we needed to categorize and understand the different types of income. We did that. Once we got a much clearer picture of what the money or where it was coming from and how he can potentially grow, we could also identify what was a complete waste of his time and money. So one of the first areas we started analyzing was how much he was charging for RV rental space. We realized very fast he was really undercharging by a lot. So unfortunately, undercharging was having quite a snowball effect on the business losing value also. And that was a big problem for us at the time. It was going to make it nearly impossible for him to retire if we did not change this immediately. After we got a better feel for his profit centers, we recommended price increases, and then it was where we faced one of our biggest challenges, my client, John himself. He was making up every possible excuse not to increase prices on his tenants. As he saw it, he thought they will all just walk away. He said, I'm going to price myself out. They're going to all leave me. And then what? What am I going to do? So he saw himself in real trouble, but that's what he thought. So to overcome his fears and to really help him out, we started talking to him like weekly, continuously going over how this can be done. We actually suggested books for him to read. So this would really make a difference in him understanding this process. We discussed changes to revenue, expenses, we refined our strategies, and at the same time, we could only do so much on our own. We needed John to do his part. We could not do this for him. It was something that he had to do himself. These things take time. Roughly about a year into it, we were able to bring his business revenue by about 30%, even with John's resistance. And guess what? None of his customers walked out. And as it turns out, most of his tenants knew they were being undercharged all along. Now the next thing was preparing for the sale and finding the right broker. So we set ourselves to find the right broker who would specialize in business like this. We knew it was not going to be an easy sale, and time was definitely not on our side. Getting a quick sale for top dollar was vital because John's declining health and his lack of retirement savings and the business itself needing a lot of maintenance. We started reaching out to brokers, but we were constantly turned down. Why they turned us down? Well, they felt the land was too small and it needed way too much maintenance. But my team and I were very persistent. We made sure we employed the right appraisers and we made certain that every asset was accurately valued after the revenue changed from charging the additional rental to the tenants. So it really paid off. We finally hired a professional broker who was not afraid to put his skills to the test. It was a pleasure working with him. Within just 3 months, our business broker turned out what it initially looked like a difficult situation into a $1.2 million closed sale. We were all so excited for John. His business sold, but we all knew that the work was not completed. It was quite far from done. We still had Uncle Sam, the IRS, were waiting around the corner, and they wanted a big payday on the sale of John's business too. We knew that if we did not navigate this properly, John would lose roughly about $135,000 in taxes, and it would certainly put a dent into our retirement plans that we had set up for him. Immediately, we put a tax plan into place that included his Social Security, where he's going to live next, and how he was going to take advantage of the $250,000 deduction on his primary home. After all, he had built one right on business site, all while bringing his federal taxes from $135,000 to zero. And yes, I mean that, zero taxes. Can you believe it? That's right, zero taxes. John did not have to pay a single penny on his federal taxes. To say the least, John was elated. He loved our plan. After all, no one wants to pay more taxes than they really need to. So, how is John doing today? I really wanted to know how he was doing after all this went down, and it was a very successful story. So after a few weeks after the sale, I gave him a call and asked him, hey, how you doing, John? And to my great surprise, I was very happy to hear he was healing. His health was coming back slowly but surely. He even pointed out to me the stress was killing me. I'm glad I'm retired and now I'm building a new life. Then he said to me, you must be really proud of yourself with this sale. And honestly, I said, yes, I am. But the biggest impact to me is that I was really able to make a difference in his life. So today, John is retired, he's healthier, he's happier, he enjoys peace knowing that his work was justly valued and in good hands today. Now, he does no longer have to worry about how he's going to retire. And for me, this is not just about numbers. It's about making a difference in people's lives. As a CPA, I help clients connect with a more disciplined aspects of their finances, which has changed and made a huge impact in everything they do. John's transformation is a testament to the power of trust, overcoming fear, and the profound impact that a dedicated financial guidance can have on someone's life. And if you don't already know me, my name is Sonia Narvaez. I'm a licensed CPA and wealth building strategist with over 25 years experience. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to take advantage of the last tax saving strategies and do not hesitate to contact us. To get your free complimentary consultation with a member of my team, simply click the scheduling link in the description below and pick the time that works best for you. We would love to help and meet you.